Hello, welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about self-care that goes way beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. It even goes beyond what we normally think of self-care as nutrition and sleep and exercise. We go where it's uncomfortable. It's the unfamiliar zone, and we go deep. And that's why it is completely transformational. Today, I have a guest with me. I am welcoming Wunmi Idowu. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, yay. Welcome, Wunmi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here. And share with us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Wunmi Idowu, and I am the founder and director of Wezu Africa Music and Dance Theater. Wezu Africa means Welcome to the Land of Perfection. And what the performing arts company is doing is encouraging and preserving the cultural aspects of Africa in the communities that we're in right now. And we do that by outreach, going out and displaying the cultures of Africa with workshops, dance workshops, fabric showing workshops, food workshops, and also we perform, we present our culture in events such as Global Festival, and we also produce events that we did Unganisha for February 2018 to celebrate Black History Month. So we do a variety of different activities just to be able to showcase our culture and get some people to understand us better and embrace us.
Well, I have to say, as soon as I met you, I loved you already because I adore West African dance. I love African culture, and so I said to myself, "Oh, I want to have her on the show so we can share the word." And I absolutely love African dance. It actually changed my life, so I'm very passionate about it, and I love what you're doing.
Awesome, that's good to hear.
Yeah. So when we on the show, we get our guests to share their favorite self-care practice. So what would you say yours is?
Favorite self-care practice would be dancing. I use dancing as a form of release. When I'm stressed out, I put some music and I just dance away my sorrow. And when we come for rehearsals on a weekly basis, the dancers have also expressed to me that when they're there, they just leave their troubles at the door of the rehearsal space and come there and just express themselves with movements. Let the music engulf them and take them to a place that they can feel relaxed. And I think that does that because it's a form of exercise as well, and you get to explore the sounds and what the sounds make your body feel to do. So I feel that is my form of expression, and that's where my self-care goes to. Is the dance form of it. It takes a lot out of you because you're moving so much muscles and you're dancing in so many ranges. But at the end of the day, you have that lightweight feeling when you've finished the choreography or the performance.
Oh, I'm just covered in goosebumps, which I call truth bumps, because I feel exactly the same way. Dance is so powerful, in particular African dance, and it's the best workout I have ever encountered. And there's some neuro research, like some brain research, that shows that dance is one of the only, if not the only, time you are connecting your physical body with your emotions and spirit, and with mind, body, spirit, and emotions. Yeah, all four of those, and your mind. So and James Brown says that if there are any problems that dance cannot solve, I don't know what they are. And I have to agree.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have you been dancing your whole life?
Well, I started dancing at the age of 3. And I moved to Canada when I was 10. So this was back home in Nigeria, West Africa. And I've been dancing in different schools. I was leading a lot of dance, sections of our schools. We did dance competitions. So I loved it. I loved coming home and showing my family what I learned. And they embraced me, which was something very, very special that my parents did. Most parents, especially African parents, they would not embrace dance because they do not see that as a profession. But my parents saw that I loved it and saw that it was a passion, it was a calling of mine. So they embraced it. They kept pushing me to do it. We moved to Canada. I started dancing with Wajir drummers and Kikile dancers. And we would travel all over Canada doing festivals, and we have performances, like really high level performances with the ideal client. And I would perform for, mass productions, and it was just, you got to see that dance is something that they appreciate here. And I just kept embracing that, and I kept cultivating my culture and getting to learn more, and I started infusing that into my education. When they had cultural days, I would come there with my rapper and African music, and I would dance and show them a little bit of it and do like an audience participation with my pupils. So it was just a lot that brought forth this to where I am now, over 25 years still dancing. And I will continue to dance to showcase the culture, because I feel if somebody does not do it, that culture will be lost. That opportunity to learn and to educate the masses will be lost. So that is definitely why Wezo Africa is here. We want to make sure that that piece is not missing. Just because we're in Canada doesn't mean we should leave our culture behind.
Yeah. And what I love about dance is that it's one of the only things that can be passed from body to body. Like you can't write down how to dance. It just has to be done. And it's such a special form of preserving history. And of course, so many styles of dance originate from African dance.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's what Unganisha was. That was the event that we hosted February 17, 2018 at the Right Theater. And we just basically, I just had this passion of why aren't people or those who are dancing in the arts being able to express where the dance forms came from. So I decided to host this event called Unganisha. It means connect in Swahili. And we basically want to demystify where the African dance diaspora has brought modern dances such as tap, jazz, capoeira, samba, salsa, Afro-Cuban, Afro-Caribbean, and step dance. So about 9 genres. Then we threw in belly dancing as an opening act, but that's one of them too. And we basically dug deep and brought documentation, clips, as well as voiceovers and information. And also we had actors act a sequence of, a son missing his mother, which is African dance, and trying to find them through this modern dance. So the story was compelling, and people left the auditorium just shocked at how much African dance has changed the modern style of dance, or influenced the modern style of dance. And it's another thing to look at is you're bringing these people from Africa, you're spreading them all over the world, and their culture is so rich, it changes their culture and influences their culture for the better. So it's really cool seeing that. A lot of people left crying. A lot of people left feeling connected, like, okay, I understand, I'm from Jamaica and I've never seen this before. I understand now, it makes sense. And it's something that we're going to be doing annually, because we feel a lot of people need to see that, especially dancers and instructors who teach those styles of dances that never tell their students this is where it came from. It will be really informative and really particular for them to come and learn.
Oh, I agree. And I have taught a lot of African dance after having studied it for several years. And I've traveled and done artist in residency programs at schools like in northern BC. And it's so, even though I obviously am not from African heritage, but I feel so passionate about having people know where things come from, especially something that has affected the world in such a positive way, like African dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I just feel like dancing now.
Oh my goodness.
So the other thing that I love to do on the show is to get our guests to share a story of courage. So what is yours?
Well, I believe courage is to have a bigger dream, to dream big. Don't box yourself in to the norm. Don't stay in that box and expect your dream to come out of it. You have to walk towards it. You have to plan towards it. You have to be intentional towards that dream. So my courage story is dreaming bigger. Ways of Africa Music and Dance Theater was just a thought. And I took steps, you know, registering the company. I took steps buying costumes. I took steps renting studio spaces, looking for dancers. I took steps to create what it is now. I moved from Edmonton to Calgary, and I took those steps again, looking for a studio, making a mark in the community, letting people know who I am, going to networking events, performing for various festivals so we can get our names out there, teaching at DJD and Free Spirit Dance. Those are things that I'm doing to just kind of put a seed in the ground and continue to water it by my dreams. So, 5 years from now, the company, I imagine something bigger. And I created a vision board that has what I want and how I'm going to attain it. And every day I look at that vision board and I look and check things off. Okay, yeah, I've done that. I've done Ganesha. Yes, there was 400 people that came there and we got it all over the city of Calgary. Posters were all over the place. CBC carried the news. They interviewed us. We were on CTV. We were on breakfast television. Awesome. So those are things that I'm doing to continue to let people know what Ways of Africa does, getting that name to be a household name in the homes. And then the best part, the premier recognized me and the company and the dancers. And that is a huge endorsement for the premier, Rachel Notley, to be able to ask us to come and perform for the second inauguration of the Black History Month at the Medical Center in February was huge. And it was so liberating to know that I've come so far, 12 years of digging and just continue to be intentional in my dreams. Now I'm seeing it activate. It's not where I want it to be yet, but it's getting there. So dream big and do not be afraid. If you're afraid of your dream, if you're not afraid of your dream, that means that you're not dreaming big enough. You need to be, your dream needs to scare you like, oh my goodness, can I attain that? Yes, that's what you need to go for. It needs to scare you. So that's what I do. And that's what I tell my children. One of my daughters wants to be a doctor. The other one wants to be a professor. I think she wants to be a doctor too. And it's kind of interesting because I'm pushing them. I'm already setting the precedent that they need to learn how to read and read a lot. They need to do their homeworks on time. I'm getting them tutors, ensuring that they're in the best schools. Those are things that I'm putting in their place to ensure that they are successful at the end of the day.
I love that. And I have some questions for you. So the first one is, do you remember when you first had the dream of having this company and this vision and spreading African culture? Do you remember when that first came to you?
2002. I danced with Wadjo drummers and Kikele dancers for 12 years, from 2013 until about 2014. And I looked at it, 2004, 1993 to 2004. I looked at it as an opportunity. I'm here with a whole bunch of drummers and a whole bunch of dancers loving our culture and coming and performing all over the place. And then when the company kind of digressed and kind of went away, nothing was there anymore. Okay, so what do I do now with my talent? So I joined other groups and I would just choreograph for them and perform for them. But everybody had their own dynamics. Everybody had their own structures, and I wasn't really fitting into it. So I decided, you know what? I can do my own thing. I can open my own company. Okay, what do I need? So I went, enrolled myself in a course, and I got a certificate for it, small business management or something like that. And I was the only one in the performing arts. Everybody had different companies, some people had photography companies, some people had construction companies that they were putting together, but I was the only one in the arts. Funny thing is, the person that, the owner of that school contacted me a couple of years back to ask, are you still doing it? I'm like, yes. And this is everything I've done so far. And he's like, whoa. Yeah. So I keep, I'm going, I'm continuing to go. But yeah, that was the first point of reference to what I need to do and why I needed to do it. There was nothing that we could pass on to our children. And my daughters are here. They're Canadian. They were born in Edmonton. They don't go to Africa often. So the only African that they can resonate is with mommy. And mommy tells them about the African language and speaks it to them. Mommy shows them the African culture by the clothes she wears. And mommy teaches them about the respects and the religious part of Africa, and that's all they know, and they can take that information and give it to their friends and share it. So if I'm not authentic and if I'm not doing that, then they'll be lost in their culture, and that would be my fault. So that's the main reason why, and that was the aha moment of you need to get this done and you need to do it well.
Hmm. Yeah, for the philosophy of courage is that there needs to be some sort of value on the other side of the fear that's pulling you through. And
Yes,
so it sounds like partially it's sharing the culture with your children
that's right.
and opening up this awareness for the rest of the world to be able
Yes,
to appreciate
yes.
where your roots are from.
Exactly, and be who you are, right? I love African culture and I love African food. I bring it to work all the time. A lot of my dancers are not even from Nigeria. Some of them are from Zimbabwe. Some of them are from Mozambique, Ghana. So it's not even my country that they're from. It's a 51 country continent. So it's good to share also knowledge of where I'm from and where they're from, because it's not going to be the same culture, it's not going to be the same um, practices. So yeah, it's very interesting for me to show who I am and for people to show me who they are too, so I can learn from them in an in-depth way.
Well, I absolutely love what you're doing, Wumi. I feel so
Thank you.
fortunate to have spent this time going a little bit deeper into your self-care and your story of courage that is truly making a difference.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if people want to find out more about where they can connect with you, where can they go?
Okay, so if you can go to our website, www.woezoafrica.com, that's wezoafrica.com, or on our Instagram, same name, or Facebook, same name.
Okay, and I will put the links for that below in the show
Yes,
description.
awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much
much.
for
Really
taking
appreciate it,
the time to
Christina.
share your vision with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And for those of you listening, the Self-Care Podcast, Courageous Self-Care Podcast airs Monday through Friday. And if you enjoyed the show, please like it, comment, share it with your friends. That would be fantastic. If you're watching the video, you can become a subscriber to the YouTube channel, Courageous Self-Care, so that you can keep on moving through that fear and prioritizing your own well-being. Because when one woman takes a stand and says, I am important, I'm valuable, I am worth taking care of,
Mhm.
not only does it make her life better, it also affects all of her relationships, everyone around her benefits, and then it sends a ripple out into the rest of the world, giving other women courage to do the same thing. So thank you so much for listening and taking this time to give yourself a little injection of courage and self-care. Wumi, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Christina.
You're welcome. And thank you for listening. I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye-bye for now.